We spoke with both the Republican and Democratic candidates for mayor here in Philadelphia after that primary election. Hear a little bit about that. Dom found himself in the middle of a car chase. Where was it a car chase? We'll break that down, and a shocking video of a carjacking involving a child left in the car and a teenager still in the car. That's all this week on KRASNERLAND. Welcome into KRASNERLAND. If you're new to us here at KRASNERLAND, what we do every week is we chronicle the crimes here in Philadelphia under the reign of District Attorney Larry Krasner, and sometimes spread that nationwide and talk about the crimes under other progressive DAs throughout the country, spreading like wildfire. And Dom, you were telling us today on the Dom Show that you found yourself near Boathouse Road today, and what happened? Why don't you break that down?
Yeah, I still call it Kelly Drive. I resent the city change. No, I don't call it Kelly Drive. East River Drive or The Drive. Coming into Center City from Northwest Philadelphia. And I'm parked, I think it was Sedgley, the light, just minding my own business in the left lane. All of a sudden, this car that I had seen before flying up and down the drive that had the light, tinted windows, minding my own business. And a souped up muscle car, big time. Seems to be, I thought it was either somebody going to shoot him or the cops bringing him in. Now I'm convinced these two guys started taking off at high speed, and that's two-way traffic coming at high speed, doing donuts all over the place. And the souped up car, ended up about 3 feet away from me, trying to go around me in that situation. And the way they were doing it,
hold on. When was this? Like what time of the day?
It was about 10:39 or 10:40.
At PM or AM?
AM.
This is like in the like middle of the day in the morning.
Yes, on the drive with a lot of and rows of cars and a lot of people and probably cameras there. But I can hear the Philadelphia police. Oh well, we have so many murders to check. Now this is exactly what we talk about in KRASNERLAND. It's not just a homicide; it's the Wild West version of it. You have something from Reddit in a moment that's an example. The boldness of this. So I thought this was a cop car chasing him undercover, but maybe it wasn't. It was two of them. I did see the police helicopter. Maybe somebody called, was up overhead. These are the people you have to hunt down. You have to hunt down. You got to stop them. Anybody that will do this will do just about anything. That's what's going on. And
what do you, just a standard Philadelphia citizen, what do you do besides sit on your hands in that kind of case and hope things work out for the best? Like,
I try to
like
move.
a sitting duck.
Yeah, I try to move as far to the side of my lane as I could. But, if you move too much, there's traffic coming up on the right on me too. And it happened so quickly because you're trying to piece together, are these two going to shoot each other? Is it a cop? Because the one car that he met up with had a blue light thing to make you think it's police. And essentially, I just was taking a deep breath and praying this guy wasn't going to smash into me.
So is it possible the guy was an undercover cop?
The other one, he had tinted windows and all too. I don't think cops are driving around with tinted windows undercover and all that. And it wasn't a light outside. It was a blue light inside. I think these two met up, what you told me might be happening. And I think they're menaces. And I think they have some police type of lighting maybe, and they both just went on their merry way. I wasn't going to follow them and report to the police because under Danielle Outlaw, the police are not going to take charge on stuff like this. And this is exactly the sort of wildness that we see on a daily basis, quality of life stuff. But this one was potentially deadly even. I mean, this guy was doing donuts and came at me to circle me at a pretty high rate of speed, Dan. It was a high performance car. Like 0 to 60, kind of stuff.
Was it dark gray?
No, it was black. Well, there was one that was gray. Yes.
I'm looking here. I just pulled up. There was a report of a vehicle collision on MLK Drive about an hour ago, and it's a tinted vehicle.
Yeah.
So
parallel to it. Yeah.
So what I said on air is, living up in Port Richmond, it's common at this point that you're sitting there on Intermingo and two jackholes decide to go into a empty intersection, take over the intersections, just start doing random ass donuts.
Right.
So my suggestion is Maybe it was like one of those, like, cross the city races where they had to reach certain checkpoints, do donuts at that checkpoint, move to the next one, do donuts there. You mentioned at one point there's a police helicopter following, and maybe a police helicopter knew exactly what they were doing and trying to follow this vehicle to its eventual endpoint rather than chasing them throughout the city. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe, or it was random. But you know what? The police have to do a better job. More cops, better job on social media. A lot of this stuff is social media. They need a czar of social media rather than their nonsense. Philadelphia Police Department's ineffective right now. When you have Krasner going after cops, you have this silly police commissioner, her stooges next in line, like the stooge who said, we just dispersed the Wawa 100. We're going to look at social media. Then we'll be making arrests. No arrests have been made. I don't have confidence in the Philadelphia police. They need somebody in charge who, like any organization, both A, on the positive side, restores morale, and on the negative side, puts the fear of God. There are incompetent cops who don't want to do anything. They put the fear of God in them. We don't have that.
One of the listeners are confused why we're showing this picture here. It's one of those pictures where you got to look close to see what's going on there. But take a close look right here. Right here. Right here. Another back window here. This is Front Street in Philadelphia. And it's just a rash of smash and grabs. Mm-hmm. One window after the other, smashing into it, burglarizing the car. And I bring that up, Dom, because in the comments, you can read right here, AK Raider fan says, I walk by that stretch most weekdays taking my kid to daycare. Every other day, there's at least one broken car window. Part of it is the fact that they're almost all renters, visitors, so they don't know not to park in that area with nobody around at night or cameras to watch the area. Part of it is victims only call their insurance and don't bother calling the police. And I totally get that, since police don't want to do anything anyway and just to log the crime. Part of it is police rarely do anything, even when they have the stats about a specific section is probably hit up by the same assholes. Your thoughts on this?
You know, cops are not blameless in this. And this silly woman who runs it and the people that she brought in are also not cops, in my view. They're outsiders. They have to hire within. She's got to go. Thanks to Audrey, too, saying, thank God I wasn't hurt. Yeah, the car was very close. And you're in shock because it's something like out of a movie to see people suddenly, because where I'm parked, headed to Center City on the drive, Dan, cars can still come up on the other side very quickly, headed away from the city. And that's where these guys are going around, and they're kind of playing this together. We could have had 8 to 10 cars smashed up there. Then these idiots get out. And then what do you do?
So we're living in a lawless society, it seems like, thanks to Krasner's policies. There is hope on the horizon, though, and that comes with both our mayoral candidates. Within the past week on the Dom Giordano program, if you're an avid listener, you heard both David O., the Republican candidate, Sherelle Parker, the Democratic candidate. So your biggest takeaways from the two interviews, Dom, speaking with the two candidates after the primary election?
Well, I think David O., with all due respect, is going to have trouble here. He's on the wrong side of this. He's trying to run a campaign already tough enough, Dan, that is more libertarian than law and order.
Can I pause you? So you're talking about stop and frisk in specific, right?
Yeah. Well, he had trouble with the Department of Health and Human Services. They're incompetent, but that sometimes they overreach, and they bothered him as a parent. I forget the other he mentioned, but he says stop and frisk is government overreach. No, it's not. Not done it appropriately. And Sherelle Parker is not going to have cops stopping every black man out there. My God, she made that point 1,000 times. He's on the wrong side of it. I got to say, David has a tin ear, Dan. And this is so critical when it comes to public safety. Giuliani and Bloomberg in New York allowed stop and frisk. Now, I'm not sure if they did it based upon the Supreme Court Terry stops, it's called. Terry was the complainant. I think they did, though. And it's been refined. And Philadelphia can refine it even more, meaning restrict it even more if they want. But it's a simple thing. If people can't walk around with illegal weapons and they're looking for somebody to kill and whatever, you're going to avoid more of this random fighting. You have people just walking around Philadelphia. A, overall lawlessness. B, they might be felons. By definition, they can't have a weapon. They're doing it because Krasner only slapped him on the wrist. They might do it 3 or 4 times. My God, what's so hard to understand? And I have to say with David, who I respect, as you know, and on most things agree with, and he's relatively conservative. On this one, you're out of your mind.
Yeah, I agree. If you want to go take a listen to Dom's great interview with Sherelle, I implore you after we're done here with KRASNERLAND, posted right here on YouTube. There's a video, Sherelle Parker, first time since primary. Take a listen to that, and you can also go back and look through our archives and pull that David O. If you want.
And I would say very easy to interview Sherelle Parker. There's not a lot of space there. She gets right into it, and I talked about this, and people in Black and brown communities agree with her against the progressive mob. They trust her to calibrate this. This can be calibrated where the police can use this. Danielle Outlaw doesn't seem to be interested in it. Seems like it's too much work for her.
Jim writes in, I do like that Sherelle is coming on the show often. I hope that continues. I do believe it will. I mean, we have a great relationship with them, so I hope that does. There's a part of me, though, Dom. I mean, being completely transparent with our audience, first time around, I voted for Obama because I was a stupid college kid that I was, caught up in the whole liberal progressive scene. And I felt absolutely hoodwinked through his presidency. And I moved to the right, and that's where you find me now. And there's a part of me that has a lot of trouble trusting someone from the Democratic Party to keep their word when they get into office. I'll ask you again, has there been anything that's changed your mind that would give you cause for concern that Sherelle won't keep her word as a Democrat when she gets into office?
No, not on the issue, the sole issue that matters to me. On some of these other things, I care, but if I can get a person who's going to do the things that are necessary for public safety. And here's the thing, she can do things, let's face it, that some white guy mayor cannot do. The word she used was unapologetic throughout the campaign. Why? She's a bit liberal on some things, but she's a Black woman with a son who's about 12 and makes the point, do you really think I'm going to let him just be profiled or whatever? So if you're living in a world of reality, not only that, I don't know, none of them, to my sensibilities, were going to directly take on Larry Krasner. But at some point, she's the type of personality, I don't think she's going to let him continue to do this nonsense without a challenge. Who's better suited to take apart Larry Krasner due to her life experience, her race, her gender, etc.? I'd say she is, than even David O. I mean, David O will be dismissed by a lot of these people in Philadelphia. That's just the way they are. Be harder. Notice Helen Gim did not directly go after her for those reasons.
Yeah. So we're talking about Larry Krasner and his, dealing with hard questions and such. Ralph Cipriano spoke to him at a press conference. He was asking about some numbers involving juveniles and arrest stats. And Larry Krasner was not too happy that Ralph seemed to know what other reporters should be in the know
about.
One
point here, too. This clown, right? Look at this, the squares and the nonsense. My God.
Oh, they're still doing it. Look at them. Yeah, 6 feet apart.
Exactly.
I didn't even think about that. I'm just so used to seeing it now.
Here's the other thing. To my knowledge, most of the time, they don't have a microphone there for the questioners. So we hear wah, 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 wah. And everybody gets, what the hell's going on? And then this guy says, get the hell out of here. I'm Larry Krasner. And that's the end of the news conference. A professional run organization would have the mic there, take the questions. This is a pretense. This is like the Praetorian Guard around him. And those little things are not shadows. Those are the thing you have to say. This guy here is kind of tired. He's starting to go, like, let's look at each one and Dan, tell us what's going on in your mind. Look at this guy where he's looking.
This guy very much enjoys taking off his suit at night and playing video games.
Yes.
This guy definitely lets loose a lot. I could see him having a couple beers. Yeah. This guy frequents Atlantic City in the surf scene, but decided to throw on a suit for this event. I don't know how he got involved.
Yeah. This woman doesn't look too happy over here. She looks like she's not a member of the office. She had to show up at this somehow or another. Yeah.
Well, she's upset that she got a memo that she had to wear a colorful outfit, but everyone else showed up in this these drab white and blues.
By the way, does he have his coffee cup there? Is that a Starbucks or is that something else? Right.
He has a coffee cup right here. There's definitely a top.
You can't do the North Korean thing without the Starbucks. It's just a lot. I think it's product placement. That's what he's doing.
It looks like he might be getting some notes from Ted Lasso back here, putting up a sign above the door that says failure is not an option. It seems, Larry, that indeed in your office it is an option because it's been a complete failure.
You're right. I was wondering what he was putting. Failure is not an option. Yeah, failure to let more criminals out is not an option in his office. I wonder who those pictures are too behind him. That'd be an interesting story.
And these sheets, it seems that similar to his office, the sheets are now in disarray. They no longer mark the spots. They're just at random spots on the floor.
Yes. And this guy's refusing to stand on it. He's not on his spot. This guy's straddling the spot. I think you're supposed to stand like this tightly on the spot. Get on your mark.
Minnie writes in, this guy Dan knows from Fortnite. She might be correct about that.
Yeah.
No comment. All right, so I was just going to fast forward to past Ralph's question because he can't hear, but just to make Dom's point about why they need to mic up the reporters, take a listen to how bad this audio sounds and how clear Larry is when he storms out of the press conference. Take a watch.
And it said 1 out of every 2 teenagers arrested in shoes have been arrested.
Wah, 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 wah.
You know, part of
Getting ready with the coffee cup.
invite you as a speaker, and I don't know how you,
There we go.
sir, but we didn't invite you as a speaker, and I don't know how you have access to secret data. Thank you.
Secret data. Well, go ahead, this coffee cup.
And he's done with the coffee cup.
I love it.
He can carry it like, yeah.
I love that they were quick to end that stream because there's always that moment when Larry storms off that everyone looks at him and they just have no idea.
This woman starts it. There we go. She still doesn't get it. Where is she go? Can you follow that? Let's see where she goes.
It ends right there. This is it's cut there. I could probably find it somewhere. Yeah, maybe for next time, next KRASNERLAND, I'll be able to find that. But
people want to know. We got to find a bow tie guy too. And failure is an option.
Failure is not an option, it said. I wonder where that came from. Minnie writes in, Minnie's ear is incredible. She goes, Dan mentions an Apple TV show every hour. This continues, Dom. I don't know where my obsession comes from.
Product placement.
Nice. Honestly, Minnie, it's me being now a little bit more financially competent and canceling a lot of services and being stuck with like 1 or 2 at a time. And right now, Apple's one of those that I have and canceled a couple others. Dom, a crazy situation unfolding with the carjacking and a mother who had left her baby in the car. I want to get your thoughts on this, though. Who's at fault? What's the situation here? Take a watch.
Shari and Gray, all I can say is this could have been an absolute disaster. The car stolen by teens with a toddler in it, and the mother was watching, but it turns out these suspects, these teenagers, had a last-second change of heart. This is the start of a mother's nightmare. Her car is parked in the middle of the 4100 block of Gillum Street in Tacony. Her 14-month-old toddler was in the car, but then you see a teen walk up to the door, get in, and take off. You see her run after the car on the street, with several others following behind. We spoke with that mother tonight. She's Regina Padilla.
Dropping off my kids to visit my grandmother and taking the 2-year-old up the steps.
She says she made eye contact with the suspect right before it happened.
I was terrified. I was absolutely terrified.
Thoughts?
You can't do it. I mean, you're in KRASNERLAND, and parking in the middle of the street like that allows them to see that you're leaving it there. I realize she's got a 2-year-old and a younger child, and it is difficult, been through it, of getting the kid back in the car seat and all that. Maybe the baby was asleep, but there's no other option. I mean, there's no quality of life here. You have to.
But the crappy thing is, all right, so I want to take the other side, though, okay? We live in a city where if you're with a child, I don't know about the neighborhood. I think it's a pretty decent neighborhood, right? Is it an okay neighborhood, usually?
Tony has gone completely downhill.
Okay, so you're in a downhill neighborhood. You got to weigh as a parent. Do you double park your car, run your kid inside, then move your car, park it, and then walk alone back to your home? Or do you park your car normally, parallel, take your kid out, and then walk a couple blocks with your kid if it's a couple blocks away?
Well, it looked like she had parking room there. I don't know why she parked in the middle. Am I wrong?
It's Philadelphia, I mean.
I thought she had room to park there, Dan.
I'm pulling it back up. Let's see. Let's judge. Come on, here we go. And
Run after the car. Second, there's nightmare. Her car is parked.
On this side of the street or no?
No, it looks like it's only one side parking. You see over here?
Well, for a minute, though, that would be a better course of. I hear you, and again, I'm one that says, hey, you pull into a Wawa, you lock the car, you're getting a cup of coffee, your eyes are on the kid in the seat. I've always said I get that. This situation, though, particularly when she says she saw this teenager in that situation, you got to go with your instinct and you got to go back to the car.
Wonder if Earl was
Why
around.
are you leaving the car running, though?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good question. Like, why not just click it off real quick, lock the doors, run inside?
Yeah.
I mean, if it's hot outside, though, does that become now an issue? You're leaving your kid in the car with the...
Well, you roll the window 3/4 of the way down, and then if you're just running the 2-year-old up the step and the grandmother gets the 2-year-old and goes in, you can't leave the key in the car, though, and leave the thing open. I mean, it's an obvious.
Yeah. And then let's do one more innocent bystander story before we get out of here, Dom. Imagine you're riding a bus in your neighborhood of Germantown. You hop on the SEPTA bus, and this happens.
Sarah and John, SEPTA's transit police chief, says that if you just take one ride on SEPTA, you are seen by multiple surveillance cameras, and police say they do plan to use that as evidence for an arrest. Police say in this case, they were lucky that there were not more fatalities, considering that there were other passengers on the bus, and a bullet narrowly missed the bus driver. Now, I do want to show you video from the scene last night. Police say a young man was shot and killed during an argument on a Route 23 SEPTA bus last night, just before 11 o'clock on the 5200 block of Germantown Avenue. According to investigators, the gunman was in a hoodie and a full face mask covering, sitting across from the victim near the front of the bus. Police say there was a verbal argument which escalated to a physical confrontation and ultimately led to the fatal shooting. SEPTA has a message for anyone trying to conceal their identity to commit crimes.
Face mask head coverings, right? More popularly known as shiesties among our young folks.
Shiesties?
Those face masks are prohibited on SEPTA property. You come on SEPTA property wearing your shiesty, you will be engaged by police. So I want you to think about that. For those involved in activity that is illegal, you will be engaged by police. Now you got two choices: remove it, or we escort you off property.
All right, thoughts on that, Dom?
What? If it's illegal, arrest him.
Yeah, but okay, I agree with you there. But the idea of banning the shiesties.
On SEPTA property, yeah, I would say there's no reason to wear it there. Yeah. In general, in the city of Philadelphia, no, I don't think you can go down that path.
Like, why do you need a shiesty when you're like, here's so just to give you an image of what they look like. Where's my screen? These things.
Yeah, well,
like, why do you need that during the summer? Like, what's the cause of walking around like that?
Well, and you know what that relates to? That relates to the Terry stops thing. If you're wearing this in the winter and the cop stops you, it's one thing. But you're right. In the middle of the summer, why are you wearing that? That's out of line. That might be something where they take a look. And do they see any kind of bulge gun type of thing? So, yeah, I would say SEPTA ought to just identify them, get them in the system, do something like that. You have no right to wear it on that property. Take it off them at least.
So what are they? I guess they're usually used for skiing, obviously. Yeah, it's the hyper warm.
Shiesties. Yeah. Oh my God.
And like if you walk through the Cherry Hill Mall, I was pointing out to Maisie, look around, every freaking kid that seems to be under the age of 24, 25 has one of these pulled down around their neck. I think it's banned in Cherry Hill Mall too. Like the security guards must make them take them down off their face, but they all have it around their necks, like right here.
Well, you know, some of it comes from the overreaction to COVID. They got away with it with the masking, and this is a form of that, and it's provoked. I don't remember it being quite this prevalent before the COVID thing.
No, I don't either. So I think the masking during COVID definitely encouraged it, right?
Yeah, shiesties. Yeah. Oh, man, the way the guys...
We have some on the cutting table, as we normally do, because the city sucks and Krasner can't get it under control. Actually, you know what? I love the city itself. I love the people of the city, but I hate the current state that it's in, and I despise it. My wife can't go to the Wawa after it gets dark to safely fill up her car.
Right.
So, hopefully it turns around. But Dom, tomorrow we will be back here on our Facebook, YouTube, everywhere. at the Farley Service Plaza. What are we doing down there starting at noon, Dom?
We're promoting Farley Service Plaza. It's the start of the greatest season, as we all know. Don't send me anything on it. It's summer, and the living is easy. It's not fall. Take off your sweater and your shiesty. You don't have to wear a shiesty in the summer. That's why it's good.
Also, I think Pete Cheraki will be out there with Chickies and Pete's.
Yes.
They'll be opening at one point. They'll be opening the expressway.
Yeah, it's a salute to veterans tomorrow. And also those shore bars, some of them dives back in the day. Rick Grimaldi always used to do that. We'll ask your favorite. You're too young. You weren't here during that, the Rainbow Room and the legendary tales, Dan, of what happened. Yeah.
I'm just pulling up the schedule for tomorrow because we got a lot going on. In 1:30, we'll have Alan West. 12:30, Joey Jones from Fox News will be joining us. 2 o'clock, Mayor Pete from Wildwood. 2:30, we have what's his name, Patrick Rosanello, the mayor of North Wildwood.
Well, I got with that guy. I'm in his camp, and I want to know: can I get a brigade there, throw sand on the beach on 14th Street, where the Giordano's summer White House is?
I would love to see it. I'm considering doing a show coming up from a balaclava, Dom. Maybe I'll buy one and do maybe we should both do KRASNERLAND with the masks on.
That should be in the budget. Tell Greg Stocker we need that.
Did you see when it was up there though? How much that thing was? I mean, it's Nike brand, so it's slaves over in China
probably
making it.
$100.
But it's no, it's not that much. It's what was it? $42.99 for one of those things.
You know what it is? It's part of the wear too. You talk about a dystopian underground society. That's what SEPTA is.
Yeah.
And when they say they have a lot of cameras, we know from Nestle, the former head of SEPTA, we got a lot of cameras. We're not watching them. That was their policy.
Yeah, we have tons of cameras. Well, Chief Nestle, who's watching? Nobody. We hope to hire someone soon to do that. Oh, well, what's the point of having them? Minnie says, thank goodness it isn't Mayor Pete Buttigieg coming. I'd love to have Pete Buttigieg come on and see what she had to say against that guy. No, Mayor Pete Byron. I don't know what I said back there, but Wildwood Mayor Pete Byron's joining us. Minnie says, thanks for the show, Dom and Dan. Ipso says, yes, thanks for the show. You're always welcome, guys. Thanks for always joining us and being great supportive fans. Dom, until next time, we will pray for a much safer week, but that hasn't been the case since we started doing this. But we hope it is a hard to prepare for show. Until then, stay safe. Any last words, Dom?
If you're in an incident like mine, say, would you like coffee with that donut, sir?
And then also some show facts. 5 o'clock, Rich, right here on YouTube. We'll be doing his happy hour as he always does. And then at some point tonight, we might be doing Other Side, me and Anthony Dorenzo. If Anthony tweaked his ankle again for the 3rd time since moving back to Philadelphia. The dude has such weak ankles.
We can't talk with him.
Well, he says he wants to go to urgent care to get it checked out to make sure everything's okay. But I think he's just making up an excuse to, not come back to work. Well, we'll see how that goes. But you might see me again tonight at some point if you're subscribed to our YouTube channel, which I highly suggest you do. And I ask you to please like and subscribe. Until then, talk to you later. See you at the Dom Show tomorrow at noon.